So there was a memory etched into my head from quite a few years ago that I'm going to tell you about. One of the houses that I grew up in was right off of a main road. Now the driveway leading up to this house, it was not very steep at all, but in the wintertime, if any amount of snow fell, it would get plowed into the bottom of the driveway, and it was nearly impossible to get in and out of the driveway because you would just get stuck. You'd have to get a running start off of the main road and hope that, just floor it and hope you can get up into the driveway. This one particular winter, we didn't so much have snow as we had rain, and then it froze overnight because the temperatures dropped and it froze overnight. It was real bad. It created an entire sheet of ice over this driveway. And it brings back comical memories for me because we were out there sliding around, trying to walk up the driveway. And it was impossible. Like there was nothing to hang on to. You couldn't get any momentum. It was just, we were flying around, just acting crazy. At the time, we had a Dodge minivan, and I remember my dad pulling this thing up into the driveway, only getting about halfway up, and then the tires were just spinning, and it was actually starting to come backwards a little bit because it just completely lost momentum, and it wasn't going anywhere. It was funny. We were laughing. We could not get this thing to move up the driveway, not even an inch. It was impossible. Basically, we were just wasting time and effort, but we were like, how are we going to get this thing the next 20 feet up? I mean, it's kind of blocking the entrance points to this driveway, and we don't want to walk all the way down on this sheet of ice to try to get into the vehicle. Like, it's just not a good thing. So how in the world are we going to get this van up this driveway? So we were probably out there for about 15-20 minutes attempting to just push this thing up, chipping ice, trying to find some loose gravel to throw into the tires. Nothing was working. Well, I remember it being what felt like 15 to 20 minutes. It may have been longer because I remember at one point my mom coming out of the house, and she's like, what's going on? And we're like, we can't get the van up the driveway. Like, we're trying to get behind it and push it, but we can't get momentum. There's no footing. Like, it's impossible. So mom came out, assessed the situation, and was like, oh, well, I'll help you guys push. Dad can drive, and, three of us will get behind it and try to push this thing up. And I remember thinking, like, I don't think that's going to help. I mean, we both have no traction. Like, even adding a third person is going to do nothing for this. I kid you not. My mom came down very carefully, made her way to the back of the van. We counted 1, 2, 3, and we pushed. And the van went straight up the driveway. It went straight up the driveway, right to the exact spot that it should have been. My dad parked it, we got out, and we were just standing there like, there's no way. There's no way. The looks on our faces when that happened, it was priceless. Me and my brother were looking at each other, just jaw dropped. Like, how did mom just do that? It's still etched in my brain. Like, that entire scenario is just burned into my brain. I will probably never forget it. But the one thing that I think about now when I think about that story is just how much of an impact your presence can have. It's not so much that the situation that you're in changes. It's the same situation, but the people that come into your lives, the people that enter those situations, can be the difference makers. In thinking back about my mom's legacy and everything that she taught us and left us, she spent time, resources, energy to teach us, to guide us, to help us get ready for the next steps in life. I have a stack of letters that she started to write me from way back when, probably I would say 2005, 2006, so quite a few years ago. And each letter that she wrote me, you could see the progression of each stage of life that I was in. because she would follow up on her last letter, and she would build on what she had said, and she would say, hey, I noticed this and I noticed that, and congratulations on finishing your classes, and now you're over here and you're becoming a man, and these are the responsibilities that you're going to have in the future, and when you start dating a girl, this is what you want to look for. And every situation, every life situation that I would find myself in, she would just be there with words of encouragement, with not just good advice, but spiritual advice. She was always pointing me back to God. And I've talked about this a little bit before in some of my previous legacy videos that I have done, but her belief in God is what got her from point A to point B. She talks about the struggles. Some of these letters I can't get through. I got to set them down for a minute. It's hard to hear on paper the struggles that she went through, much less me thinking back and recounting just the nights and the days of just absolute miserableness. And life was not a bed of roses for my mom. It was hard. It was not something that I think I would have found much joy in, but what she believed and who she believed in got her through that. And I think that means something. And as she molded me and encouraged me and taught me things in life, her dying wish was for me to carry on these things that she left for me. So I think when people ask and people want to know how I can still believe in God, and I carry this belief on that she had, that has become my belief. You come to a crossroad where you have to decide whether or not you are going to believe or not, because just because they believe something, just because your parents believe something, doesn't mean that's what you believe. So you're going to come to a point as a kid, as a young adult, and then as an adult, whatever stage you're in, where you are going to have to make a decision as to whether or not you're going to follow what you've been taught, or you're going to walk away from what you've been taught. Sometimes it is best to walk away from what you've been taught if you've been taught the wrong thing. That's for you to figure out. That's for you to study, to look into, to analyze. Every single person has an individual decision that they have to make about that. And when I watched my mom go through this crazy trial and tribulation and hardship in this physical life, and the resolve that she had, it means something. It's not to be taken lightly, and I knew that. So I could get mad at God and say, I'm walking away from you. Or I could embrace the things that I knew were true, and I knew they were true because I witnessed them being true in the life of my mom. And I could take those lessons and those things, and I could make them mine, and I could live them out. And that's what I decided to do. Because had I not done that, every single thing that she did, it wouldn't necessarily have been in vain, but when it came to me and how I lived my life, it would have been for nothing. So I had to follow through. I had to become that person that came into that situation and made a difference. Just like my mom came out of the house and came into the situation where we were trying to get this van up the driveway, I need to be the person that comes into the situation and helps push the van up the driveway. Circumstances are not going to change. Situations are not going to change. There's a certain flow to life where, certain actions equal consequences, whether good or bad. And life is going to ebb and flow as we go. But you come across those people, and watching my mom be that person made an impression on me. So here I am, 7 years later, making a video talking about her, remembering her, not forgetting what she told me, building upon what she gave to me. Nobody told me that I had to do this. Nobody is paying me to do this. Nobody's forcing me to say nice things about my mom. I don't make millions of dollars putting these videos up on social media platforms. This is personal for me. You know, it's been said that you die twice. Once when you're put in the ground, and the second time when your name is mentioned for the last time. As I think about that statement, I think that it's not so much about preserving the image of somebody as much as it is preserving what they've built and what they've left. If what they've built and left is something that is worth building upon and furthering, then why are we not doing it? Good people die every single day, but as soon as that coffin lid closes, they are gone. And with them, every single thing that they believed in is gone as well. In all of these letters that my mom sent me, you know, she charged me to hold the line. She challenged me to hold the line, and I made a promise. I made a promise to her, to myself, and to God that I would hold that line. I made a promise to myself that I will not forget what she built for me. And I made a promise to myself that I will never give up this life and what I'm fighting for until I myself am put in the ground. That's a commitment. That is a promise that I made. Every day you wake up, every breath that you take is a gift from God, and it is not to be taken lightly. You have so many people struggling and hurting in this world, but you woke up and decided to complain about the weather because it's too cold, or it's raining, or you don't like your job, or this or that. There are some people that didn't make it today, and there are other people who are fighting for every single breath. Maybe you need to get some perspective about life, and hopefully you can get that perspective before something tragic happens, because that'll make you wake up real fast. Everything that I am doing, everything that I am building down here on this earth, every aspect of what I am doing to build a legacy. The legacy was started by my mom, and I am adding to that, and the person after me will add to it. And this is something that will affect generations. It is not just a one and done burnout, but you have to have people with resolve, willing to toe the line, willing to hold that line and not give it up no matter what comes their way. That's called legacy living. You can look back through the other videos that I have made, and you begin to get a picture of what I am saying. You begin to get a picture of what I'm talking about. And it's not about me. It's not about you. It's not about creating this atmosphere of motivation and this, you know, using plays on words and doing all these things to manipulate people. This is real, everyday, living your life for a purpose, having meaning behind everything that you do, finding your why. I will never give up the fight. I will hold the line for as long as I can hold it. And I will sacrifice anything and everything to the bitter end to keep that promise. You and I, we're temporary. Our legacies will last forever. What we do on here will echo in eternity. It does matter. You matter. Your time matters. What you believe in matters. Don't let anybody tell you it doesn't. Believe in Jesus Christ. Build relationships. Fight for something that matters in life. And don't ever give up. Live and die by those things. And you will have built a legacy worth carrying on for the person coming behind you.
It's hard enough to find the words to say. It's hard to find a way to be okay. A mother's love can never be replaced, but what I wouldn't give for one more day. And I would give my eyes if I could see you one last time. And I would give my arms if I could hold you into mine. And I would give my lungs if I could feel your air inside. Oh, and I would take your place so you could stay the rest of mine. There's nothing I wouldn't give for time. I think about your smile ear to ear. I'll miss you more with every single year. But you made us promise no more tears. Still, what I wouldn't give to have you here. Oh, and I would give my voice if I could hear you one last time. And I would give my all to feel your heartbeat next to mine. And I would give my soul if I could ever change God's mind. Oh, and I would take your place so you could stay the rest of mine. There's nothing I wouldn't give for time. And I know you're here with me, forever standing by my side. And I can feel your love every time I close my eyes. And I know there's no more pain and you won't ever have to fight. I know you're here watching over me, 'cause you're the angel in my life. And I know that we'll see you in time. I know that I will see you